To teach social emotional skills, it is important to first understand the necessity of doing so in early childhood. Then teachers must determine which skills should be taught, and finally, how to develop an appropriate social skills lesson. If you think back to the presentation in Lesson 1, the research shows us that early childhood is a critical period for the development of social skills. We know that poor social skills can put a child at risk for rejection by their peers, decreased academic performance, and that these deficits can follow them into adulthood with consequences that can be as extreme as life imprisonment for committing crimes. The first step in teaching social skills is trying to determine which social skills to teach. Some schools have adopted social skills programs or have school-wide positive behavior support programs. In these cases, the social skills may be pre-selected and may follow a sequence whereon one skill helps provide the foundation for another school. Other schools do not have access to such programs. In this case, teachers need to use assessment data to make large group instructional decisions. For example, if there is always arguing over who gets to take a drink first after recess, the teacher might consider to select teaching the skill of waiting. Or, if a teacher knows they are going on a field trip to a museum, she might select to practice the social skill of using inside voices in preparation for the upcoming trip. Some teachers use the class meeting time as a time to decide which skill to practice. Through discussion with the students can help select which skills they feel they need. This can be a powerful teaching tool, depending on the students. No matter what, teachers need to consider the cultures of the students in the class as well as the culture of the school and community when selecting the social skills in which to teach. In my early career, I taught at a lovely school on the Navajo Nation. Wanting to be respectful of the culture, I wanted to learn how to say thank you in Navajo. I was instructed by a community elder that thank you was used differently than I might have used it. To say thank you in Navajo, in some circumstances, I could be insulting someone, as it might suggest that I didn't expect them to perform the task in the first place. This is just one example of how social skills are very culturally based. Social skills programs are often based on Bandura's social cognitive learning theory. Most social skills lessons have the following components: didactic instruction, which is really the presentation of factual information, modeling, role-playing, feedback, and group discussion. As children get older, there's also some sort of homework involved where students can attempt to practice the skill in a new setting. With young children, this homework can take the form of a family activity, again with the goal being the generalization of skills to a new setting. It is important to note that we should never teach a brand new skill in the heat of the moment. This is not the student's optimal learning time. When they are under stress, it is too difficult for a student to learn a new skill. Instead, we should teach new skills when students are calm, practice the new skills when students are calm, and then help guide the students to use the new skill in the moment with prompting and other strategies, until the student is independent with the skill. We want to only provide the minimum level of support needed in order for students to be successful. The following is one way to think about developing an effective social skill lesson. As you develop your lesson plan for this course, think about how these steps align nicely with the direct instruction lesson plan. When we talk about didactic instruction, we are talking about the presentation of new information. In the direct instruction lesson plan format, this is also known as instructional input. This input can come in the form of a video, a book, a class discussion about the social skill, really whatever format the teacher feels will meet the lesson objectives as well as the needs of the students. For example, let's say I want to teach the students how to assert themselves if someone is doing something to them that they don't like, such as talking to them in a way they don't like, taking a toy away, pushing, or something like that. We might start the discussion with a presentation of a scenario. We might ask questions like, have you ever been on the playground and someone has done something to you that you didn't like? Maybe they tried to take a shovel away from you in the sandbox, or maybe they called you a name. Then we could ask questions like, what did you do? How did that make you feel? The students will share their experiences at the level they're comfortable. The teacher might even prompt the discussion by saying, "Did any of you ever do something back, like push or call the other person a name?" Then the discussion can talk about how they would be breaking the rule as well, and that is not really fixing the problem. The students might share their personal experiences, or if the teacher has a story or short video related to these scenarios, she might show those to the students as well. All of these previously described activities are a way of introducing new information, and they are only the first step in the lesson. In a social skills lesson, we are trying to provide students information about the context in which the skill takes place, as well as how to perform the desired skill. Once the information is presented about the social skill, then the teacher should model the appropriate way to handle the skill. This is where the steps to the skill are taught. It is also important at this time to provide examples and non-examples of the problem. Now let's think back to the previous skill that was presented, asserting yourself when someone else is doing something to you that you don't like. In this case, the new skill is teaching the students to say, "Stop, I don't like that," when someone is doing something to them that they don't like. In order to teach this skill, I need to task analyze it, or break it into the steps needed to complete the task. I want the students to use their words and advocate for themselves. So the first step is that they need to stop what they are doing. Then, the next step is advocating for themselves by saying, "Stop, I don't like that." After they say, "Stop, I don't like that," the students need to wait and see what the response is from the other student before trying to do the next step. So my steps are listed in student-friendly terms on this slide. First, we are going to teach the students to stop what they are doing, and then use their words to say, "Stop, I don't like that." Wait, and then decide what to do next. The decide what to do next part is a problem-solving skill that can also be taught. We will talk about this more later in the course. In the meantime, a few options can be presented to students. 1, that the problem is solved and nothing needs to happen. 2, that they might need to say, "Stop, I don't like that" again. 3, the student may need to walk away. Or 4, the student may need to ask for help from an adult. In any case, the point of this particular skill is to teach the child to say stop and to use words in place of a physical or an emotional outburst type of response. The teacher will model the skill by having a student and/or another teacher come up to the front of the room and try to take a toy away from her. The teacher will stop what she is doing and say, "Stop, I don't like that," and then wait to see what the student does. While modeling the skill, the teacher will use self-talk to demonstrate what she is thinking. This will be repeated a few times with a few different examples. Then the class will talk about non-examples. In this case, the teacher can present a scenario about when mom and dad say it is time for children to eat their vegetables. The children should not argue with their parents by saying, "Stop, I don't like this." The whole idea of this point of the social skills lesson is to paint the picture of when and how the skill will be used. The next two steps, role-playing and feedback, fall under guided practice in the direct instruction lesson format. We need to allow children to practice the skills in role-playing scenarios. The teacher then guides these role plays and provides specific feedback on the student's demonstration of the skills. It is this practice by the students with the guidance and feedback from the teacher that moves the direct instruction lesson towards independent student mastery. Both steps are critical in the development of the social skill. Finally, we wrap up the social skills lesson by having a group discussion that reviews the skills and then discusses how to use it. This closure should leave students with something to think about for the next lesson, as well as how they can practice this skill on their own. We will provide independent practice in two ways: A, by prompting the student when this occurs naturally, and B, by providing activities for the students to practice. With young children, we provide a family activity that can be done to help them practice the skill at home. For older students, we know this activity as homework. While we call it homework with our older children, it can still have a family focus. Just remember that when sending homework, we need to make sure we provide enough information for parents so they know what to do with the activity. Here are a few general ideas to think about as you embark on creating and implementing social skills lessons. Do make the activities developmentally appropriate. Make sure students feel valued in role-playing, and do provide as many opportunities for the students to practice the social skill throughout the class day as possible. Don't make up worksheets. Try not to be overly critical of student performance, and try to make the lesson the appropriate length of time. Don't make it too long. Whatever you do, don't give up on teaching social skills. The social changes might not happen right away. Remember, it can take a long time to learn a new skill, as well as generalize it across people and settings. Some of the information presented in this presentation was based on the work of McGinnis and Goldstein in their Skill Streaming series. These books provided great examples of how you can break social skills down into their small components. There are also other resources to help you as you develop your social skills lessons, including information on the CEFA website, as well as many other social skills programs and resources. The information presented here should help guide you as you develop your own social skills lessons.